It's Hugo and Jake, they're coming to take a look at the Quran. So make no mistake, it's gonna be great, delivering more than comedy, that's what they wanna be. But honestly, it's fact from fiction, leaving lasting hits. When Hugo and Jake take faith and illustrate contradictions, create apostates to be great. Atheists make people who believe see the world in a different way. What's on the episode today? Take it away, Hugo and Jake. Loving the way they're splitting the fact from the fake, attempting to make those who hold faith reevaluate and wake up. But they just stay stuck and haters wait and stay in place, no time to waste. The Quran reloaded with Hugo and Jake.
Hello everyone, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this is the Quran Reloaded, and we're back to do another video response where we debunk the greatest minds in Islamic thought. Not this time though, because it's that Abu Bakr Siddiq guy, and I almost feel bad every time we do this, because this dude was not prepared to put anything together, including coherent sentences. So,
yeah, he doesn't even really, you'll see. We'll go into it. Start the video, Hugo.
Will do.
Hello there. Hi there. Today I'm gonna go through the scientific miracles of the Quran.
You know, Abu Bakr, I'm sorry I have to do this to you. I honestly, genuinely am. I don't want to point out the obvious flaws in your arguments. You're probably a nice guy, but just, out of all the people who have ever been wrong, you're the best at it, and one has to respect perfection.
I like how prepared he is for the video. From the natural light washing the whole fucking thing out, or to the tired look on his face from working all day. What do they do over there? Spice mines? I don't know. Well done.
No, that's...
YouTube game on fleek.
I think you're thinking of Dune.
That might be it. It's Dooney there, though, right?
I think so. They're riding those fucking sandworms all day, every day.
There's quite a few of them. You can call them miracles if you want, but that's kind of a bold claim.
Well, at least we're on the same page there.
And the verses in the Quran, they're not contradictory. They're very set statements in amongst topical verses.
Wait, can we play that back again?
And the verses in the Quran, they're not contradictory. They're very set statements in amongst topical verses.
Jake, am I having a stroke, or does that sentence make no fucking sense?
We may be sharing a stroke.
I smell eggs.
So God's not dedicated pages of scientific conclusions to his.
Are you nervous? Are people after you? This video was put out 4 years ago. There's no way we could save you. You're probably dead right now.
The first one I'm going to look at is this following verse, which I'll just put up on the screen, which is God says the planets are orbiting around the sun.
Alright, here's where I normally point out you're taking the verse out of context, and the actual verse is using a day and night cycle and saying that the sun and the moon orbit the Earth, but you beat me to it, and you put an annotation correcting your mistakes, so we're off to a great start.
You're saying that they kind of invented heliocentrism or whatever, but the first person to have proposed heliocentrism was Aristarchus of Samos in 270 BCE. That's 879 years before Muslims claimed that the Quran even started to be written. You wouldn't even get a medal for that in the Special Olympics.
I know a lot of atheists might argue that the Greeks and the previous peoples, they predicted that the Earth was that the planets were orbiting around the sun, but that's irrelevant.
I feel the need to point out that it would be very relevant if the Greeks and Romans had come up with heliocentric models of the solar system. Your own argument is that the Quran has divinely gifted scientific information that would have otherwise been impossible for man to know at the time, so the Greeks figuring it out on their own completely undercuts the very premise of the entire video. How do you expect people to agree with your arguments if you don't even understand what you are trying to argue?
What you're saying is like me predicting something that someone else said 900 years ago and then taking credit for it. In other news, I predict the birth of Henry V of Luxembourg.
It's clearly laid out to you in this Quranic verse. is clearly spelled out to you, and it tells you that the planets are orbiting around the sun. I mean, it's kind of nonsense that people would think that the Prophet Muhammad would forge paths, would forge from the Greeks or whatever.
That's not what forging means. That's just having the same facts. By that logic, I'm forging Hugo's idea that you're an idiot.
Yeah, so the second scientific miracle, which I'm going to be looking at, is this following verse. It says, "The sun and the moon that reflects light off it." This is another. This of course we didn't know back in those days that the moon was itself not a light in itself, but it reflected light off the sun. It clearly spelled out in the Quran. In this following, as you can see on the page right now.
So, about that, yeah, about 1100 years before Muhammad was born, a guy named Anaxagoras was kicking around and he was like, hey guys, maybe the moon was once a piece of the earth that got shot into space and it just reflects sunlight. And everyone was like, hey, we're Greeks, you're a weird guy, Anaxagoras. And then he's like, also, maybe the sun isn't a god, and it's like a giant hot rock. And then they were like, oh no, better lock you up in prison. So they did in 450 BC. Anyway, my point is that it wasn't all that of an original idea by the time Muhammad was telling people what to do and consummating his gross kid marriage.
Another miracle, scientific miracle in the Quran, is God talks about the Big Bang, and God clearly says that the Earth and the universe was a conglomerate whole, and we broke it up. And we broke it up. So the Earth and the universe was a conglomerate whole, and we broke it up. And it's in this, as you can see right now, in this, I'll put the verse up right now.
I love that he telegraphs his edits like we wouldn't understand why the pictures change if he didn't. He just... But anyways, no, this isn't an original idea either. The pre-Socratic philosophers of Athens and even some Indian philosophers hypothesized that all matter came from the same primordial matter they called arche, which means beginning, origin, or source of action. This is the oldest one yet, by the way, coming in at roughly 800 BCE. You're really bad at this.
I feel dumb for even having to explain this one. Okay, so this is justification of monumental proportions. I know you talked about the older one, but even discarding that, as you know, Islam is the third Abrahamic religion originating with Judaism. In the beginning of the Bible's Old Testament, which follows the same Jewish creation story, the opening lines are, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and darkness was upon the face of the deep. The Quran isn't describing the Big Bang. It's describing God creating the heavens and earth from basically voidless ether from which they are derived. Now, you may say I'm just fitting the verse to my own interpretation. Yep, so now you understand how stupid you sound, so let's call it a day and move on.
Also, we can see this makes sense, of course, now that this happened, because if you look at the world, it's shaped into a jigsaw fit. Every continent can be fitted together into a jigsaw fit.
He just confused plate tectonics with the Big Bang. Hugo, are we accidentally making fun of a retarded kid? Ah, well, we're committed to it now. Press on!
One bullshit shoehorn explanation is already too much, but this guy had two conflicting divine intentions and claimed they're both equally true. I don't have a joke here, I think Jake covered it, but this is the dumbest video I think I've ever watched, and I am aware of the general quality of the YouTube community.
The heavens and the earth were together, and God says in the Quran that the first heaven has been adorned by stars and planets. So there's still another 6 more heavens out there, which could be more galaxies, or it could be what God's filled you up with.
How is this a miracle of scientific accuracy? Are you implying a multiverse/string theory thing here? I mean, neither of those are proven at the moment, and some people think it's a thing, but this seems to imply celestial and ethereal heavens, not like the Crab Nebula.
God says also that we created the world, we created the heaven and the world and everything between them in 6 days.
Man, our friends over at Conservapedia are going to be pissed when they find out they agree with dirty Muslims. Deep breaths, Mr. Santorum. In and out. Good.
Another scientific miracle and another scientific conclusion in the Quran is that God says that the universe is expanding. As you know, the universe is expanding. It's there's so many galaxies, and it continues to expand. God clearly says in this verse, we expand it. In this verse right now.
How in post do you miss your own editing cue?
So the 51st Surah, where he's getting this from, is a story where they just describe how great Allah is and all the great things he's done, like making the earth and stuff. So yeah, they're going to use descriptive language that makes him sound mighty and ever-expanding. The funny thing is, in the same surah, they also talk about how God made every animal in pairs to breed, which isn't exactly true for asexual creatures. They breed with themselves. And you can't really say, of course, that the authors didn't know about that, because you're saying God divinely inspired the rest for scientific accuracy. Did Allah get to the animal section and decide asexual animals are overly complicated, but people in the desert could get the Big Bang fine? I don't think this guy's credible.
I have lots of asexual sex with myself.
That's masturbation. Close. Not quite the same. Is your hand pregnant?
No.
Okay, you're good then. If it starts to get pregnant, get that checked out. It's probably a tumor.
Another scientific miracle is God says in the Quran that there are two oceans. There are two oceans we've put, and both don't overlap each other. They never mix. They never overlap each other. So basically, the waters always remain on one side of the ocean or the other side of the ocean, but they join together, but they never actually overlap. And there's two oceans in the world, as you can see in this following uploaded verse.
Did this guy not seriously Google how many oceans there are? There are 5. 5 oceans, as we currently classify them. Look at this. This is the Google Images page when you type oceans. You don't even have to Google ocean map. Just type in oceans and boop, there you go. Like 3rd row. All 5 of them. Fuck me.
There's been an interpretation to which oceans God is referring to, but I think it's the Pacific and the Atlantic. The Atlantic is more salty, more raging, more fierce, and the Pacific is more calm. And when they come together, they mix together. The Pacific and the Atlantic, they come together in the world, but they don't overlap.
What? No. The fucking verse said this was the one was salty, and the other one wasn't. Wait a second. Did you just reverse psychology me into defending the accuracy of the Quran? Well played.
That's another scientific conclusion.
That pause makes me think even you know that one was bullshit.
And I can't. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. To be honest, if I was to look into it, there'd be quite a few more.
Thanks for taking the time, Abba Baker. Appreciate you.
Everything is made out. We were created out of water. God says in this verse that out of water we created every living thing. So God says that everything's created out of water, which is a scientific fact.
Yeah, it's not like water is vital to pretty much, nope, every single kind of life on Earth. People maybe erroneously made an assumption about our connection to it. No, we're magical water beings. I assume that's what Abba Baker sounds like when he talks dirty. I was daydreaming a lot during this video.
For most people who have even a basic understanding of evolution, though, it seems pretty obvious why animals would have water incorporated into their physiology. Our planet has hella water. There are plenty of organisms that live on Earth that could live in ridiculously harsh conditions, though. They're known as extremophiles. For instance, the tardigrade can survive the vacuum of space. So, he can survive on the inside of your skull.
You gotta read the Quran yourself. Just pick up a Quran, or you can even go on it on YouTube. It's a great book, the Quran. It's the final book, and it's got all types of scientific statements, which are undoubtedly true now. They're unrefutable. That's what makes it so special. They're not half measures here.
Yeah, not a third or quarter measures either. None of your positions are defensible. Jesus Christ, people, send us better videos to debunk. I'm not even proud of this one. I feel like a hooker who was paid for a whole hour, but he finished once he saw my tits. Sometimes it being too easy just makes it feel dirtier.
There's no half measures. Alright, that's all I gotta say. Alright then. See ya. Bye.
Well, that was a pretty cold send-off. Fuck you too, Abba Baker. Now I don't even feel bad about making fun of your retarded face.
Alright, so that's another one of his videos. Hopefully we won't do any more. People, please, on Twitter and here, give us more videos. It's hard to find good Muslim videos. You know what I mean by good. You get it.
Yeah, this guy, he is spent.
He is. I feel bad for the dude. He doesn't deserve all this. He clearly wasn't prepared. I mean, in fairness, when you put yourself out there...
This video has 300 views.
I know. It's almost like... Dude, we're dicks. Anyway, if you want, you can follow us on Twitter at Bible Reloaded.
You can follow Hugo at Hugo Reloaded. You can also subscribe to the channel, and you'll get more things like this.
If you want, you can also donate to our Patreon. If you donate $15 per video, you get our TBR QB dolls, which if you haven't seen before, they're those things that come and you fold them up and they're like little figures. And our first one, I think, is going to be, what is it? Halloween Hugo?
It is Halloween Hugo.
Yeah.
You also will get stickers and pins sent in that package and a chick tract of our choosing. You get one a month. And it's kind of like a loot crate situation. They're very cool. They look like little pop art dolls. Yeah. It's very fun. It'll be a good time. You should do that. And also, of course, access to the Patreon-only hangout.
Yeah. So, until next time, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And I'm going to go daydream some more about Abba Baker. And hope he's doing better in life than he was then, because if that's not rock bottom for him, then he is in a ditch.